Crisis negotiator Hyun is called to a tense hostage situation in Seoul. A pair of armed criminals, including a Filipino gang member, have taken a couple hostage in a residential area. The situation quickly escalates as the criminals demand a negotiator. Hyun arrives at the scene, attempting to diffuse the tension with calm and strategic dialogue. However, the armed men remain volatile, unwilling to cooperate. As Hyun works to establish trust, a SWAT team prepares to intervene. Despite her insistence on finding a peaceful resolution, higher authorities decide to launch a tactical assault. The breach results in gunfire, leading to the deaths of the hostage takers. Tragically, one of the captives is also killed in the chaos. Hyun, deeply shaken, watches as the failed negotiation turns into a disaster. In the aftermath, Hyun faces intense scrutiny from her superiors. She struggles with guilt, questioning her role as a negotiator. The traumatic event lingers in her mind, making her doubt her effectiveness in high-stakes situations. This failure weighs heavily on her, pushing her toward a difficult decision about her future in law enforcement. However, just as she contemplates stepping away from her role, an urgent call forces her back into action. A new hostage crisis emerges, far more complex and dangerous than before. This time, the captor is unlike any she has faced, forcing her to confront her past mistakes and prove her worth in an escalating life-or-death negotiation. Reluctantly, she accepts the mission. Soon, she finds herself in a darkened negotiation room, staring at a monitor as Min Tae-gu's face appears on the screen. The hostage-taker's calm yet menacing demeanor sends a chill down her spine. He isn't just another criminal. There's something more to him. As Hyun steels herself for the negotiation ahead, she realizes this is more than just a job. It's a chance at redemption. She takes a deep breath and prepares to face the most challenging adversary of her career. Hyun is urgently briefed about the crisis unfolding before her. Min Tae-gu, a ruthless arms dealer, has taken several hostages at an unknown location. Unlike typical hostage takers, he does not demand money or safe passage. Instead, he insists on speaking directly with Hyun, making it clear that this negotiation is personal. As Hyun sits down in the police control room, the video feed comes to life. Tae-gu appears on the screen, calm but menacing. He taunts Hyun, questioning her ability as a negotiator after her recent failure. The hostages, tied and terrified, sit behind him as he issues a chilling warning: any misstep from the authorities will cost lives. Despite her lingering doubts, Hyun remains composed. She engages Tae-gu carefully, trying to uncover his true motives. However, he controls the conversation, steering it toward a larger, more sinister agenda. Tae-gu reveals that he has information about deep-rooted corruption within the government and law enforcement. He suggests that his actions are not driven by greed, but by a desire for revenge. As their tense exchange continues, Hyun realizes she is dealing with an adversary unlike any other. Tae-gu is not just a criminal. He is a man on a mission, willing to sacrifice everything to expose the truth. The stakes escalate when he executes a hostage on live video, sending a clear message: he is in complete control. With the live hostage situation intensifying, Hyun braces herself for direct communication with Min Tae-gu. She knows that every word she speaks could determine whether the remaining hostages live or die. As the police establish a secure video link, Tae-gu appears on the screen again, his demeanor disturbingly calm. He greets Hyun with unsettling familiarity, making it clear that he has studied her background. Hyun remains professional, attempting to assert control over the negotiation. She asks Tae-gu about his demands, trying to gauge his intentions. However, Tae-gu refuses to give a straightforward answer. Instead, he manipulates the conversation, shifting focus to her past failure. He describes in chilling detail how she lost a hostage in her last case, forcing her to relive the trauma. His words are calculated, designed to shake her confidence. Despite his psychological tactics, Hyun fights to maintain her composure. She steers the conversation back to the hostages, emphasizing their lives over whatever vendetta he holds. Tae-gu, however, remains unfazed. He cryptically hints at corruption within the police force, suggesting that those in power are not as innocent as they seem. Just as Hyun begins to press him for more details, Tae-gu abruptly ends the call. The screen goes dark, leaving the police team in stunned silence. Hyun realizes that this negotiation is unlike any other. Tae-gu is not just playing a game, he has a purpose, and she must uncover it before more lives are lost. After abruptly cutting off communication, Min Tae-gu reconnects with Hyun, but this time, he shifts the conversation in a shocking direction. Rather than making ransom demands or negotiating for an escape, Tae-gu claims he is exposing a dark conspiracy involving powerful figures in the government and law enforcement. Hyun remains skeptical, questioning his motives. She challenges him, insisting that murder and hostage taken are not justified, regardless of corruption. However, Tae-gu remains unfazed. He insists that the system is too broken for justice to be served through legal channels. To emphasize his point, he reveals that his own family has been directly harmed by these corrupt dealings. After the shocking execution of Captain Jung, Hyun regains contact with Min Tae-gu, determined to understand his true purpose. With the police force shaken, she shifts her approach, appealing to his emotions rather than his threats. Sensing her change in tone, Tae-gu finally reveals his deeply personal motive. He recounts how his sister, an innocent journalist, was brutally murdered while investigating the very corruption he has exposed. She had uncovered a secret network of illegal arms dealers, including government officials and law enforcement officers. However, before she could publish her findings, she was silenced, framed as a traitor, and killed under suspicious circumstances. Tae-gu insists that her death was not an accident but an orchestrated execution to protect those in power. Hyun listens carefully, realizing that Tae-gu is not just seeking revenge. He wants justice for his sister and those who suffered due to these corrupt officials. However, she reminds him that his actions, taking hostages and killing captives, are only adding to the cycle of violence. She urges him to let the remaining hostages go and expose the truth through legal means. But Tae-gu scoffs at her suggestion, claiming that the law is controlled by the very people he is fighting against. He believes that the only way to make them pay is through fear and retribution. As the conversation intensifies, Hyun sees a glimpse of vulnerability in him, but she knows time is running out to turn the situation around. As the tense negotiation continues, Hyun grows increasingly suspicious of Min Tae-gu's true motives. His demands seem too calculated, and his knowledge of the authorities' responses suggests an inside connection. Meanwhile, intelligence reports indicate that a recent arms smuggling operation linked to Min was disrupted in the Malacca Straits. Authorities receive classified footage showing a South Korean weapons deal gone wrong, an illicit arms shipment seized by unknown forces. Hyun pieces together the fragments of information, realizing that Min isn't merely a hostage taker. He is seeking vengeance against those who betrayed him. His hostages are directly connected to this clandestine operation. The revelation alarms Hyun. She presses Min for answers, but he remains cryptic, only hinting that she is missing the bigger picture. Meanwhile, a covert military team is deployed to investigate the situation in the Malacca Straits, hoping to uncover Min's next move. Back at the crisis room, tension escalates as Hyun and her team track Min's communications. A breakthrough comes when they intercept a coded message linking a high-ranking South Korean official to the arms deal. As Hyun begins to question her own superiors, she realizes this hostage crisis may be far more complex than it appears. With time running out, she must determine whether Min is truly the villain or if he is exposing a corruption scandal that powerful figures would rather keep buried. As Hyun digs deeper into Min Tae-gu's motives, she uncovers a shocking connection. CEO Hyun, a high-ranking business executive, is deeply entangled in the illegal arms trade. Min's hostages are not random victims. They are key figures involved in a corrupt deal that led to his sister's death. Determined to expose the truth, Hyun confronts CEO Hyun through intercepted communications. She presents damning evidence linking him to illegal weapons shipments and government corruption. However, Hyun remains composed, denying any involvement. Instead, he warns her that meddling in these affairs will cost her everything. Meanwhile, Min listens in on the conversation, growing increasingly agitated. He demands Hyun confess, but the CEO refuses, dismissing him as a rogue criminal. Min's patience snaps. He threatens to execute another hostage if Hyun does not admit to his crimes. Realizing the situation is spiraling out of control, Hyun tries to de-escalate tensions. She appeals to Min's sense of justice, urging him to let the authorities handle Hyun, but Min is beyond reasoning. He has already decided how this will end. As the call ends abruptly, Hyun senses that the final confrontation is near. With both Min and Hyun refusing to back down, she must make a critical choice: follow protocol or take matters into her own hands to prevent more bloodshed. As the negotiation reaches its breaking point, Hyun realizes Min Tae-gu is not merely a ruthless criminal, but a man seeking justice for his murdered sister. With the corruption scheme fully exposed, she now understands that high-ranking officials and corporate elites orchestrated the arms deal, leading to his personal tragedy. However, Min has lost all faith in the system. He executes CEO Hyun in a final act of revenge, sending shockwaves through the crisis team. The authorities, no longer willing to negotiate, storm the hideout to eliminate him. Hyun, determined to prevent further bloodshed, races against time to reach Min before the tactical unit. As she finally confronts him, Min, wounded and exhausted, reveals the full extent of the conspiracy, implicating key figures in government. Despite his crimes, Hyun acknowledges that he was driven by betrayal and grief. She pleads with him to surrender and expose the truth legally, but he refuses, believing justice is impossible within a corrupt system. With the strike team closing in, Min accepts his fate. In his final moments, he entrusts Hyun with the evidence, ensuring the truth will not die with him. As gunfire erupts, she watches helplessly as he is gunned down. Later, Hyun presents the evidence, bringing the scandal to light. Though Min is gone, his fight for justice exposes the corruption he sought to destroy, leaving Hyun forever changed by the encounter. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more. Catch you in the next one. Stay chilled.